Welcome to the Get Sculpted podcast. We're your hosts, Tiana,
Jordana,
and Marilyn.
This podcast is all about cutting through the noise and giving you the real deal on fat loss, muscle building, and what it really takes to build your 2.0 sculpted self, inside and out. Our motto is to work smarter, not harder. We'll break down science-based and actionable strategies to optimize your metabolism, ditch the diets, and create a sustainable, fit, and healthy lifestyle that actually works for you. So if you're ready to get stronger, not just skinnier, and embrace a body you love, hit that subscribe button and let's get sculpted.
Happy New Year and welcome back to the Get Sculpted podcast. I hope you had a wonderful, relaxing holiday and you're ready to go after an amazing 2025. Today, we're going to be diving into goal setting, vision crafting, and actionable steps to become your 2.0 self. Fit, energized, and thriving in every area of your life. And truthfully, this is something I love to do. Every single New Year's, we sit down and we set our vision as a family and we create actual vision boards, like on paper. And I love it because it gives you an opportunity to connect with people that you love, create visions with one another, elevate your visions with one another, be inspired by one another. And I think this is so important when we start to think about our fitness and our overall well-being as women, as entrepreneurs maybe, or just working, moms in our 30s and beyond. It's a great opportunity for us to just really think about the future and how we can make that actionable in the present. So I just want to say hi, girls. Happy New Year.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year and happy birthday to my baby Lucas, because I think this is dropping on his birthday.
Oh, hello.
His birthday gets forgotten because
That's
it's
exciting.
the day after New Year's Day.
Tricky time.
So I figured a little shout out, he would appreciate it, even though he's like 5, but I'll play it for him.
He's going to love it.
He's going to love it. He's going to be like,
love
Mommy, are you talking about me?
Happy birthday, Lucas. We love you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
So today we're actually going to dive into all things vision setting, goal setting. And the three of us have some really good commonalities in how we like to goal set, but we also have some unique perspectives that I think, you know, when you're listening, you're going to pick up on what works for you or maybe some new ways of looking at it. And so we're going to separate things into basically 3 parts today. We're going to talk about vision setting. We're going to talk about goal setting, and then we're going to talk about how to turn your ideas into action, because that's really what we want to do. And for most of you, that is actually the missing key, is how to make what you want a reality. So, Mara, can you start us with how you look at vision setting? What does it mean to define your 2.0 self? What do you do?
Okay, so I actually love vision setting because I think it's such an important step. I really believe that you can't become the best version of yourself without knowing first what that vision is, what that person looks like. So that's what we wanted to do today. We want to start actually with the end in mind. So to all our listeners, we want you to take a moment to picture yourself as your future self. So not just the physical changes. Yes, we know those are coming. We know those are important, but it's also about how you feel mentally, emotionally, and how you're going to show up for yourself every single day. So I would love for everyone to actually think about it for a second. What does the healthiest, strongest, most confident version of you look like? What do you act like? And so to actually make this real, we wanted to take our audience through a quick visualization exercise. So if everyone will indulge me for a second, if you can do this now, I would say do it. If not, bookmark it for a quiet moment later today, tomorrow. But if you're in a space where you can do this, we would love for you to close your eyes.
Don't close your eyes if you're driving, though.
Yeah. Please don't do that.
Don't. Be safe.
But we want to take you through this because it's so important to actually drop into this and create this vision for yourself. So ladies, if you'll indulge me then for a moment, I want you to think it's a brand new morning and you've just woken up as this 2.0 version of yourself. What does that feel like? Maybe, you wake up and you're actually feeling rested and excited to take on the day. Now picture your morning routine. You're maybe starting the day with a workout. You're having a nice, beautiful, nourishing breakfast, and you're moving with purpose. You feel strong. You feel capable. You're actually excited about the day. Now think about how you approach the rest of your day. What's your energy like? What's your mood like? How are you showing up for the people in your life? And what kind of choices are you making that align with this version? So really take a minute to see this, because the truth is, this vision that you're creating, it's inside you. The only thing that's missing is you needing to take action. So once we do that, we want you to turn your vision into something real. Grab a piece of paper or a note in your phone, and this is where we want you to think about and then write down 3 words that would actually describe this 2.0 self. So there's so many words that you can choose from, but the idea is that you want it to really resonate with you. So I actually did this in preparation for this podcast episode. And for me, the words that came up were calm, focused, and confident. That's what I want this 2.0 2025 version of me to be like. Girls, what about you? Did you come up with any words when you did this?
I would just want to ask you, Mare, I flip it back. Why did you choose those words?
That's a great question. So I am by nature a very anxious person. So for me, this 2.0 version of me, I want to be calm and in control. The other thing that kind of comes with being an anxious personality is like a million things going on at once. So I want that calm to turn into the focus in everything I'm doing, very intentional. And also, I am someone who, let's just put it, says yes a lot when she doesn't necessarily want to say yes. So being confident is being really true to myself and using my voice. So those are my 3 words. That's how I want to create this vision. And really, that's going to trickle into everything. Calm, focused, and confident will trickle into my fitness, my business life, my family, my relationships. So great question. I love that.
Good share.
Yeah. What about you, girls?
Jord, what about you?
So I have a life mantra that I've been percolating for 3 or 4 years now, which is peaceful success. And so those 2 words together have really resonated with me, that everything that I do, whether it's in love or family or business or health, relationships, anything like that, it's all going to come from a place of creating peaceful success, whatever it means in that realm. But for me personally this year, I really want to focus on the words energized, empowered, and strong. It's been a rocky road since 2020. And I really feel like this year is going to give me the opportunity to step into this new level of myself. And that's the vibe I want to bring.
I love it. What about you, T?
How about you, T?
I love that. So it's interesting because I took a little bit of what each of you are saying and I can relate. So for me, clear was one that came to mind because I have done a lot of vision setting, not just with business and fitness, but really about my personal self and all elements of myself. And I really ultimately want more clarity on what success looks like for me, what my dream life looks like. So I want to continue to craft that clear vision, not just in the next year, but in the next 5, 10 years, because I've reached some goals. So I will share this little tidbit. I make a vision board that's private only to me, and I called it Vision Board 2025. I made it in 2020 as an Instagram page.
Oh, wow.
And it's interesting because everything, I don't want to say came true. I made everything appear in that through action. But now I made my 2030 one. So I want clarity on that. And then calm was also one of mine. And that's because I'm also anxious by nature. And when you're calm, you can make more clear-headed choices. And assertive because I want to be self-assured enough that I can speak my opinion and not be afraid to be authentically myself and not be afraid to really show up in the way that I need to. That's where I'm at.
That's beautiful. I love that.
I love that. Okay. So to everyone listening, if you have your 3 words, the next step is we want you to take those words and actually create a vision statement that is going to reflect these words in your life. So for example, it could sound something like, I am energized, confident, and intentional in my workouts, my nutrition, and how I show up for myself. Just giving you an example. But what we want you to do, and this is such an important part, we want you to not just like have it up in the air. We want you to write it. We want you to say it out loud and actually keep it somewhere where you might see it every day. So I'm the queen of Post-its. I know you ladies can appreciate that. Love Post-its. I write it on Post-its. I'll put it on my mirror. I'll put it like in my car. I love to journal, so I will actually put it in my gratitude journal as well. And this wasn't my idea, but I actually have it going off in my phone as an alarm. So it comes as a reminder every day. And then I pick up my phone and I take that moment to like close my eyes and actually read it. So that way it's like I'm feeling it. But the whole idea is this vision statement is to remind you of the person you're becoming, right? You want it to actually guide you, your actions, your decisions, especially on those days that are hard. When your motivation is low,
yes,
right? This becomes a very powerful tool.
I have a tidbit, actually. I just heard this. I haven't done it yet, but you can record it as a voice note and listen to it again and again.
Oh, I love that.
I love
Such a good idea.
starting the day with stacking wins is something I'm huge about. During your workout, on a drive, on a walk.
I
like
love
listen
this.
to it every single day. It's in your ears.
Yeah. And another thing that we've done in our household for a really long time is have whiteboard markers in the bathroom. And we write the messages to ourselves on the actual mirror with whiteboard markers.
That is so cool.
And Scarlett was even doing it with like just symbols, like drawing a crown or a heart or whatever it was
I love that.
before she could even write. So this is just all the different ways, depending on what kind of a learner you are, whether it's audio or visual, like lean into that.
Good tip.
And you know what I used to do too? I mean, a little bit different when I taught kindergarten, but when I was teaching, that was one of the things we taught the kids to do as well. Have these things that you say aloud, and it's very empowering. And it's so cute when you see, like, I love that you talked about Scarlett doing that, because it's so cool to see that you're passing that on. That's like a skill that they're going to be able to take into their adult lives. I love it. So good. So, okay, now I'm thinking we should talk about how do we take that vision and transfer it to actual, like, tangible goal setting.
Okay, so I love this because, it's my jam to make the plan, because a goal without a plan is just a wish.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So this is exactly what you said earlier, Mary. You hit the nail on the head, where people have these big dreams and then they might not know how to actually get there. Or even coming back to the phrase, like, people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade. It's very true. And that really all comes down to taking the plan and making it into actionable bite-sized pieces. So there's actually a system for this, and you guys might have heard it. And that is a SMART goal. So we want to share that framework with you. It's very, very simple. Using that acronym, we can actually create something that is going to make your goals actionable. So the first part of that acronym is specific. It needs to be a specific goal. So a lot of time when I ask someone a variation of what's your 2.0 self, they might say, I'm fit, I'm consistent. How do we quantify that? How do we make that specific? What does being fit mean to you? Maybe for someone, being fit is having a big booty. For someone, it's like, I don't care about big booty. I want to lift my overhead luggage. I don't want to have back pain.
Yeah,
right? So my specific goal could be to be back pain free by the end of 2025, for example. You want it to be measurable. So again, we want to make sure that we can quantify it. In this case, you can say, like, I'm in pain or I'm not in pain, or I want my pain to be at a 3 out of 10 or less. Is it achievable? So coming back to this back pain example, it would be in this case, absolutely. For example, if someone were 5 feet tall and they're like, I want a supermodel body like Kendall Jenner. Well, you're 5 feet tall, you're a foot shorter, and you might not have the same proportions, or you might not have a certain frame like someone else, and it just might not be achievable. Or maybe in the time frame that you want, it's just not something that's realistic. So that's the next part of the acronym, is the R. So you want to make sure that it's something that is achievable. Again, it comes down to making sure that's realistic. And then T is time bound. So something that's specific to a length of time. Is it, within 3 months, I want to have my back pain be at less than a 3 out of 10, for example. By the end of the year, I want it to be a 0. So using this framework, you can quickly identify if your goals were too vague. And I think for a lot of people, what I'll add is that they actually don't realize what their 2.0 self looks like, because they don't know what it's like to feel really good.
That's right.
Like, a lot of people toss and turn at night. They wake up with no energy. They are doing hanky-panky with the lights off, or wearing a t-shirt at the pool, or like they don't want to get dressed, and they don't actually know how their day could look different. So
that's right.
This exercise can actually reveal a lot when you do the thinking and you do the work about, wow, I wonder what that would be like. So that ties into the vision. But the most important thing is that you learn to reverse engineer through this exercise.
Absolutely.
So you learn to actually set goals that are going to meet certain milestones. Because when we look at the super sculpted lifestyle, for example, like the thing that we map out with our clients, ultimately the super sculpted lifestyle is when you are that 2.0 version of yourself, at least the first version, where you're fit, you're healthy, you're sleeping well, you're lean, you have muscle. And a lot of people will try and jump from being very inconsistent. Their strength training doesn't have any intensity. They're not eating meals regularly. And maybe they have stints of like, oh, I'm going to do 75 hard, or I'm going to do a diet. And then they think that, like, they're going to go from nothing to super sculpted lifestyle 2.0 self level using the same tools and kind of like skipping all the milestones. So what I want your takeaway here to be is that we need to make sure that we have the right milestones in place, that we're on an actual path and we're not just making a wish. So I want to really like zoom out too and kind of take this bigger than fitness too, because I'm sure you guys would agree that how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Absolutely.
That's right. One of my favorite sayings.
Me too.
Yep.
So when you level up your fitness, this is a vessel for leveling up
Everywhere.
exactly the other areas of your life. When you're fit, healthy, lean, sculpted, in shape, you're confident, suddenly you're meeting those traits that your 2.0 self has. You're staying disciplined. You're setting an example for your kids. You're feeling congruent with the version of yourself that you know you're meant to be, because the 2.0 version of yourself is not just fit with a nice body. If you have fit with a nice body, you have other traits that you've developed. So what I want you guys to do here who are listening, and we're going to do this as well, girls, is really making this actionable and thinking about what are some tangible goals that we can set down, even just spitballing kind of like your knee-jerk reaction here, that you can apply to all areas of your life. So I know we've taken some time. We can give you some inspo here to share one fitness goal, a family goal, and then a business goal. This could be a career goal as well.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jordan.
I was just going to add before I share my goals is that the one thing that I'm hearing from you, T, is that we really want to make these behavior based.
Yes.
Like move away from the goal of I want to lose 20 pounds or 50 pounds or whatever it is, and move towards setting the goal that is the behavior
I love that
is going to drive the outcome.
Yeah.
Because when we focus on the behavior, that's when it actually gets measurable. So sometimes people get stuck in the measurable being quantifiable thing, being like, oh, 20 pounds, like I can measure that. But you can't really control the number and how it moves, but you can control the behaviors that are going to lead you to that output. So that's really the clarification I want people to really like hone in on, because that's the difference maker, is moving towards more behavior-based goal setting. And it's also why we set a vision document with our community.
Yes.
Like the first step you do when you become a client in Get Sculpted is you have a homework assignment, a little heart work assignment, so to speak, where you're establishing your 2.0 self in a vision document. And I love this because it really challenges you to step outside of the box that you've defined as success.
That's right.
And help you see it from a new perspective. So I wanted to add that in because I think it's important when we talk about
No,
goals.
I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah, behavior is so important. And I think that coming back to that too, people need to know, which is the first part of what we talked about, why they're doing that behavior. Because people say that all the time. They're like, my goal is to stay consistent. And it's like,
What does that look like?
yeah, why not stay consistent?
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, why just never work out again? And they're like, well, of course, I'm not going to never work out again. It's like, but why are you working out then?
Right.
Well, because I want to live a long time to be around for my family. I don't want to get diabetes. I don't want to have metabolic disease. I don't want to be hiding with the lights off. So when you know the why, I absolutely agree, Jordan. We got to have those habit-based goals or behavior-based. Then you're not just like, oh, I'm working out 4 times a week. This is such a pain. It's like, well, the reason I'm actually doing this in the first place is because you're coming back to your why.
That's right.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'll kick off the ones that I mapped out here.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, so the number one that I always had in my head is lifting 1,000 pounds. And I'll share my why too here, because again, mine is I like having performance goals. And I will go off on a sidebar here that I think this is so important. Performance goals mean things your body can do, not just how it looks. Lifting a certain weight in the gym, completing a certain lift, something measurable related to your performance as an athlete. And 1,000 pounds total, not like 1,000 pound deadlift, like 1,000 pound hip thrust, squat, and deadlift.
I was going to say, I would like to see that. I want to be there when you do that.
Oh my God, I wish. Maybe one day. That is important because I like the feeling of being really strong and jacked. And quite frankly, lifting heavier than a lot of men makes me feel really good. I like that my boys see me doing that. And that gives me a personal sense of satisfaction.
I love that.
Family goal, a quarterly family vacation. And the reason behind that is,
Oh, I like that.
yeah, because you got to make time like with anything else. And it's easy as a business owner to be like, well, I don't have the time and whatever. But at the end of the day, my kids don't need more tangible things. We want more experiences. And that's one of our top values.
I love that.
Business goal, instead of like just the numbers and revenue, which obviously, hey, it's important as a business owner, quantifiable goal would be to add 100 new members to our community in the next year, because that means that we've impacted more women's lives positively. And that is going to have a synergistic effect on our existing members because everyone is hyping each other up. So That's my why. That's where I'm at. I'd love to see what you girls shared and why.
So I actually had the same third goal as you, which was to help 100 new women in 2025. I
Love
really, just the same rationale, like the more women that we can impact, whether it's through this podcast, whether it's through social media, whether it's through our actual community and working one-on-one with clients or at events or charity work that we're doing, the better the overall health and fitness industry is going to be, but also the better everyone's health and fitness is going to be. So that is why I chose that goal. In 2025, I want to focus more on hitting personal bests instead of pounds lost. So this is a really big shift in terms of putting more performance-based goals in place within the gym as well. And then for Joey and I, we really want to do one date night a month. It's, sometimes hard to get out together and alone. So whether it's a day date and we're going for lunch or, we get an actual evening or an overnight together once a month, that's the goal that I want to meet.
That's amazing and so important.
Love it.
For me, for fitness, I check it back to the basics because I really believe as coaches, we have to walk the walk.
100%.
So for me, working out is a part of my life, but one thing I like doing is sharing with my clients how I actually make that happen, right? We talked about quantifiable, measurable. So for me, it's like I am going to have those non-negotiable 4 workouts every week and hit my 10K steps a day, non-negotiable. So again, I like doing that because I want my clients to see that it's not just this abstract idea. Oh yeah, I'm going to work out. I'm going to work out regularly. What does that look like? So I actually will sometimes take my calendar, and yes, I am a paper pencil gal still, and I will show them like, look how I plot this out. It is happening. It's not going to happen because I'm going to make it happen. So that's my fitness one. As for a business goal, same thing. Yes, I have revenue goals. I have all those awesome things. Yes, I want to bring more women into the community and make impact. But another thing that's very important to us at Get Sculpted is community, because the women in our community, they make Get Sculpted. So one thing I want to make sure that we are doing is having at least one in-person community event every single month. That's the cadence that we're going for. Specifically, I would love one of them to be a charitable goal that we have, because we always set that once a year. But I want to top our charitable contribution from last year. So that's kind of the business goal that I have for me and us. And then
I love that.
Yeah. For family, for me, I have a large family, and with large families, as the family grows, people get busier. So I want to commit to once a month, one family dinner with everybody. Now I get together a lot with my family. It's not that I don't see them, but I'm talking about everybody, the whole gang. I would love to do that because I think it's so important. It's so easy to let days and weeks and months go by and you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen that person in like 5 months. So that is important to me because family is everything to me. So those are mine.
Love it. Great mix.
That is amazing. It sounds like we have an incredible 2025 ahead of us.
Yes, we do.
And if you're still with us and that gave you some amazing inspiration or started to get your mind brewing on things that you can develop, goals that you want to set for yourself, now we're going to talk about taking action and leveling up to become the 2.0 version of you. And this is where we talk about the word consistency. Like, people get so sick of hearing that word consistency because there's no hack to it. There's no trick to it. It is the hard work. It's showing up when we don't want to. It's being there when it's hard. It is following through when it's unfamiliar or scary. But when you get on the other side of that consistency, that's when you realize that no one ever asked you to be perfect on your way to consistency.
Absolutely.
And that's where we get tripped up, is setting too high of a goal to begin with, where we can't live up to that expectation. So when you're thinking about these goals, start to think about the smaller steps to, have the big goal, but then have the in-between goals that are going to help you stack your wins along the way. And that's something that we really love to do, because if you work it all back, just like what you said with your goal, Mary, you're taking it back to basics. So to be your strongest, fittest self, it means 4 workouts a week, and it means 10K steps daily. And I'm sure there's nutrition and water and all of those wonderful things mixed into it. But then that becomes part of your daily schedule, correct?
Exactly.
And your weekly schedule and your monthly schedule, which will eventually add up to what you achieve in the entire year.
Exactly.
So the whole idea around consistency is being able to build a plan for yourself that helps you achieve those bigger goals, but they feel like small things. And that's when you can start to connect what you do every single day with your why.
Yes.
And if you're somebody who's sitting there, like, we always hear the same things, right, guys? Like, what are the usual obstacles we hear? Throw them out to me.
Oh, I'm so great. And then the holidays came. My kid got sick and then I went on vacation and something got me back.
I was just going to say life gets busy. Oh, work got busy.
I fell off, can't get back on.
It's one thing after another.
Totally.
Yeah, that's right. Pressure from other people.
Yes.
I heard that a lot over the holidays, right? We did a roundtable with our girls as a end of the year wrap up. And that was another big one that came up is like, how do I stay true to myself with all this pressure?
I love that. And so it really comes down to time. Do you have the time? Do you have the motivation? And I like to think it's really also like a fear of failure, especially a lot of women in their like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Like they've dieted 1,001 times and have not seen long-term sustainable success. So there's also a fear of like maybe within themselves or even sharing with someone else that they're going after this goal, because then if you don't succeed at this goal, then you feel that failure or that sense of shame. So let's break these down, because if time is your issue, then I want to recommend that you find smaller pockets in your day. So maybe you have a morning stretch for 10 minutes. Maybe you have a lunchtime strength training session. Maybe you go for a walk after dinner. But finding those pockets of time is really what, instead of having a huge block of time to do it all at once, which could feel overwhelming, break it up in your day and in your week so that it looks doable.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you want to add something, T?
So I was just going to add an example if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I can think of a lot of clients, like when we initially assign a step goal, and the reason we do that is because it's just such an easy way of measuring your movement. And you can do tons of different things, but like most of us just can quantify that. And then sometimes they'll say, well, you know, I don't have time to like walk on the treadmill for like half an hour after my workout. And I'm saying like, okay, listen, we want to just zoom out for a second, because I say like, let's find the pockets of time you already are walking and just increase that a little bit. Can you do that? Can you walk your dog an extra round around the block? When you drop your kids off at school, can you spend a little bit longer? Maybe before your workout, can you do 5 minutes and 10 minutes at the end? Yeah, I could do that. So like to your point, Jordan, it just illustrates that people often see this huge change on paper that's like gotta like nutrition and training and steps and like all these things. But it's really about looking at your day and your week as a whole and saying, all right, well, how can I just ease into this consistency with the path of least resistance?
Yeah. I love to think about it like Tetris. It's
life Tetris.
Life Tetris. How do you like get all the pieces to fit in a way that's going to work for you and that's going to like crush the blocks, which is get you to your goal. The second one, if motivation is your challenge, this is where you need to lean into community. And so many of you are type A, I'll do it by myself. I've got this covered. Let me like just figure this out. But what you really need is to lean into community. What you really need is a support system behind you to help keep you accountable and to be there to celebrate you when you do have a win, because when you celebrate it, you reinforce it. And that's what our brain is really looking for. That dopamine hit, this is a healthy dopamine hit. When you hit a goal, you're like, yes, I'm crushing life. And so shout out to our amazing Get Sculpted client club, because I like to say it's the nicest place on the internet.
It's the best.
It's the best.
Yeah. And my philosophy is like, why do it alone if you don't have to?
Yeah.
There's just so many things in life that you have to do alone. Why do this alone? It's such an amazing motivator. So I second that.
I love it.
Big props to our community. They're the best.
And the final one around fear of failure, if this is your challenge, then you need someone in your corner that's going to show you the success path, that's going to highlight for you the proof of change along the way with a proven track record for success. And this is, you know, a little plug of why you might need a coach this year, why you might need to do something different than the diet you tried 12,000 times already that just got you in this circular motion of back to where you started, or maybe doing nothing, or maybe leaning into less healthy behaviors. This is the year to do it different and to do it for the last time, and to see the proof along the way that you wouldn't normally see, like to see it through fresh eyes. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
If nothing changes, nothing changes. And also you don't know what you don't know in every aspect. So being open to not only having new information, tying back to what you said about community, Jord, but realizing that the power is not actually in the information. It's in having the implementation, which comes from surrounding yourself with people on the same path.
Yeah, if Googling worked and, ChatGPT worked, then we'd all, be super fit and have our lifestyle. Most of the time, it's an overwhelm of information, and we need to pare it back to actually do only the things that are going to create the success that you need, right?
Yeah.
And so the actionable takeaway for you listening today is that you really want to start small. So set up your vision, set up those goals, and then look at what is the 1 or 2 things that you can start to do this week. It's January 2nd. What can you do this week before the kids go back to school that can start helping you stack the wins and build your habits towards a healthier, happier you in 2025? And so let's sum up this whole episode for you right now. What we really want you to take away is your 2.0 self isn't created overnight, but every single step along the journey counts. And so don't discount the journey along the way, because it's actually the most important part. It is your life. It is what you are doing day in and day out. And so when you think about your vision statement and your goals, whether you tag us on social media to show us that you did the work, or maybe you DM us and share it with us, we'd love to know. But what is that one thing that you are going to do this week? Because we want to know. And, let's finish on this. You have all the tools. You have the vision. You have the power to become your best self. So let's make that happen together this year. Don't do it alone. Lean into the community. Be brave and step into the vision that you really want to achieve this year. So we all know how social media is today. So if you loved this episode, we're going to ask that you do us a really big favor and help more people like you hear about the Get Sculpted podcast. So please rate and review this episode and share it on social media if you can. You can tag us at getsculpted.ca or with our handles below in the show notes so that we know what you're working on in 2025. Join us on Get Sculpted next time when we cover how to bust through limiting beliefs. Are we ready for that one, girls?
Oh, I can't wait.
Yep, it's going to tie in beautifully.
Yeah. Amazing.
Awesome.
We'll chat with you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Get Sculpted. We hope you feel inspired, empowered, and ready to take the next step in your fitness journey. Remember, building your 2.0 body is a unique journey for you. It's about showing up for yourself consistently and not being perfect.
If you loved today's episode, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a review and tag us on social at getsculpted.ca. Your feedback helps us reach more women like you who are ready to cut through the noise and make lasting changes.
For more daily tips, inspiration, and behind-the-scenes content, follow us on Instagram and check out our handles in the show notes below. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on Get Sculpted. Until then, remember this: getting sculpted isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter.